uh, trigger warnings. There will be all kinds of triggering situations, from narcissism to manipulation, bullying, toxic masculinity, and another apology of capitalism. So be warned. You don't need to see this if you have suffered through trauma.
Left is loudmouth.
Happy takeover!
Okay, Heavy, it's not like we're much better than that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, you're right.
He is totally your guru. Just in case it wasn't clear.
Hey there. I didn't see you there. Well, I've just seen this I Am Not Your Guru documentary movie on Netflix. And it was a piece of trash. Like, technically okay. But ideologically, what a piece of garbage.
So yes, doing some research for another project, my friend told me to watch this documentary on Netflix called Tony Robbins, I Am Not Your Guru. Heffy and I expected something along the lines of Wild Wild Country, where they expose the aftermath of a terrible cult in a narrative that arcs from the funny to the chilling and horrifying story of a cult without being sensationalistic.
Nope.
What we found instead was a fluff piece about a predator who cashes in on the fears and insecurities of his victims en masse to support an unapologetically lavish lifestyle. And I don't seem to be the only one who's seen this. Like, check it out.
Yeah, you're right.
And it goes on and on and on and on.
Oh my. However, director Joe Berlinger is not trying to show us the relentless scrutiny any serious documentaries would go for. But instead he goes to great lengths to portray these predatory practices as an example of a successful method to help people be their better selves. Of course, that comes at the expense of failing to mention the ridiculous amounts of money that the victims have to pay, and the many problematic facets of the techniques used by this quote-unquote totally not a guru figure, right? Oh my. I don't know much about this director. From all his movies, I've just seen the one about the bougie rock band and the one about the serial killer's tape recordings. While I Am Not Your Guru has some interesting pieces of filmmaking here and there's an indubitable merit to make shots decent enough in an adverse environment like this hotel in Florida. Like, come on. Well, the movie is trying hard to service something that any person with a basic level of critical thinking immediately recognizes as a grift.
Because using too many drone shots here and there, well, that's a forgivable sin, but this movie does have a problem in its core concept. But wait a minute.
Who is this Tony Robbins? Is it the guy from the ice cream?
So this guy is one of the biggest figures in the industry of self-help in the United States. Apparently, he likes to call himself a performance coach, whatever that is, and has worked with all kinds of rich vampires and celebrities here and there.
The list of people that you have helped: Bill Clinton, Princess Diana, Mikhail Gorbachev, Mother Teresa, Nelson Mandela. These are like the icons of my lifetime.
The movie shows him with Ellen, that Ellen, along a very long career of this performance coach thing, whatever.
By the way, has he coached Gwyneth Paltrow? Just imagine it like a pseudoscience implosion. Holy crap!
Yeah, that would be something. The movie tries to depict Tony Robbins as a simple guy who wants to help people, who is just like that, successful. They place his success story as the transmission belt of the narrative, because in the eyes of Joe Berlinger, Tony is a winner, a brave man from humble origins who pulled himself by his bootstraps to achieve success with hard work, persistence, and a winning attitude.
Oh, that sounds fine, but if you see the film with a bit of critical thinking, you start seeing strange things. Abusive behavior, paternalism, condescending attitudes on the staff and the victims. A man that, if you dig deep enough, has been facing accusations of sexual harassment on behalf of employees and volunteers.
Just by looking at the movie, I had the impression the image of the good guy trying to do the right thing was covering up for a very narcissistic individual with an empathy that stays only on the surface, so far as it serves the manipulation of the victims. I saw a man who stops at nothing to get what he wants, and this thing he wants is not precisely to help people, but to have people help him get rich, famous, and admired.
What critical thinking? What?
Look at those close-ups. Just look at them. These people are desperate. They have deep problems. They diverted a big chunk of their resources in the hope that they are giving some solution to their existential hopelessness. It's not like they live in despair. Those seminars cost between $5,000 and $12,000. So money is not a problem for these people, like it is for most of us around the poverty threshold. They did what they were supposed to do. They climbed up the societal ladder, worked hard, and did probably some questionable stuff if they thought about it, which probably most of them conveniently haven't.
However, these people's lives are empty. They can't live with themselves anymore, and their existence, as adjusted to the system that they live in, is causing them serious existential problems. Like the young woman who wants to make peace with her absent father and find love in her suburban prison life. Oh, the golden cage. Or this poor man who feels disappointed having following the path he was told to follow and wanting to kill himself because he finds it empty.
They are ripe and desperate for this grifter, ready to be taken over by a manipulative coach that will tell them what to do. He doesn't want them to understand or deconstruct anything. On the contrary, he relieves them from their pain for a moment, reassuring them that whatever is wrong with their lives is because they stray from the system, when they should embrace it.
The name of the seminar is Date with Destiny. No, not that Destiny. That's a different grift you want to stay away from. There is music, there are lights, there are spiritual exercises, and all the necessary rhetorical devices provided by the persuasive speech techniques. Like, check it out on the internet. It's a thing, persuasive speech. That's extreme to the point that this guy even uses his physical presence to impose himself and push these defenseless people into submission to help them. Not being challenged once in any moment along the movie, not by his victims, and certainly not by the filmmaker.
Even more so, this is not about this one guy. This is a whole operation with employees, volunteers, and no spare of resources to achieve its objective, a profitable business. The film doesn't convey that at all. You have to do a very deep reading between the lines. On the contrary, the film goes to great lengths to tell you this helps people. But not really. These people are not encouraged to any kind of critical thinking. They're put in a trance and are beaten up to the concept that their individual happiness is directly linked with compliance to the way things are.
How the grift works. They fool you. They take your money.
The film brags about this event being massive, celebrated in a hotel in Florida with an attendance of over 2,500 victims. So I did my due diligence and I checked the ticket prices for this kind of event, and I found that they vary between $5,000 and $12,000. This means that in a little over 6 days, this event moves a minimum of $12.5 million in revenue, taken for granted that most people pay the minimum price ticket.
Take generously half of it to pay for expenses. Venue rental, employees, overhead in general. Still, $6.25 million are an enormous overhead. But let's be generous. It still leaves management with another $6.5 million clean. One per day. In the United States, the country where the wealthy evade taxes like there is no tomorrow. On top of that, the documentary left another piece of information in the edit. This happens in an extra shorter piece that autoplays on the Netflix service. The extra piece is this. Most of their victims are captive clients. They repeat the experience over and over for years. Why?
We could argue that the effect of these hypnotic sessions ends up wearing off, and when the victims have to face reality, the latter is gonna come back with a vengeance, no matter how well adjusted and how well off they are. Capitalism makes everyone miserable by alienating them. As these seminars never even question the root of their problems. The absurd neoliberal frame, things like infinite growth, the patriarchy, competitiveness, individualism, and
so on and so on.
We could say that both the seminar and the documentary by extension are effective businesses and tools for capitalist indoctrination to dissuade any strays. In a nutshell, the company cashes in, but so does the system.
Propaganda! And not the good propaganda, the other.
The thing is, there are many grifters in this world, and this one isn't special. My main concern in this video, and what got me absolutely livid after the viewing of the documentary, is what the film decides to show, and what it decides to hide about it.
Fucking fluff piece?
Yeah, absolutely. As I said before, I had to watch this movie as part of a research for another project, so I wouldn't have chosen to watch it otherwise. Not being the target audience for a piece of media gives you a great perspective for analysis, because you're free from things like confirmation bias. The whole time I was watching the movie, I was flabbergasted by the oozing individualism, the dogma of infinite growth, toxic masculinity, paternalistic attitudes that this guy, and outright bullying and psychological manipulation, and having the visual language and sometimes the narrative itself cover it up as, this is unorthodox, but we support this narrative. It's absurd.
In the movie, they present these abhorrences as flattering, like this piece.
A list of people that you have helped. Bill Clinton, Princess Diana, Mikhail Gorbachev, Mother Teresa, Mother Teresa, Mother Teresa.
Seriously? Teresa of Calcutta? The sociopathic hack who enjoyed killing poor people in India? Yeah, that one. But hey, they even show these kind of
Icons of my lifetime.
humanizing pieces.
And we're gonna make it so you can enjoy yourself.
Oh, are you sure?
Not just when you're jerking off, other times too. Okay. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna remember as long as you live that I don't fucking bullshit. And you've seen it, haven't you?
Yes.
You gotta tell the fucking truth, even when it's painful, even when it's not sweet.
Yes.
I'm telling you the truth. You've just fucking begun, and you're not gonna fuck it up. You're gonna take the time to fully develop, and you're gonna find a way to enjoy a little bit along the way.
It's incredible that the guy picks a suicidal rando who paid a shit ton of money to be in that room and eventually makes it about himself. Does he fucking bullshit? You bet your ass he does. Check this other example.
To my leadership, it feels so incredible that I can go full force into that room, and I know that there are gonna be some people that are gonna need that individual attention, and that you guys will grab them and be on top of it. And I think that's the gift of this community we built here, is we raised the standard for caring. And I read the speech and I cried my eyes out, and it was all about just never, ever, ever giving up. Just pure will is what keeps you going. And at that stage of my life, that's all it was pure will. And so I read that thing, and I said, this is me, and I got up and I went to this regional competition, and I trounced everybody.
Or this one.
He's one of the troop. He sees the lion going, I'm going, bah, 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 making the same sounds. And one day, a group of lions came in. and they sliced up all the sheep around them. And now the little lion is a big fucking lion going bah, bah, and he's horrified by it all. He's in shock. And this one giant lion comes over and smacks him on the head and says, "What the fuck is going on with you?" He grabs him by the hair and he takes him. He takes him until he can see a puddle of water there. And he looks and he sees he's not a fucking sheep. Still, he's not convinced. So the lion feeds him some of the sheep, and he tries to spit it out because it's a vegan and stuff. Are you vegan? Okay, close enough.
Yeah, fucking yeah.
Yeah.
The thing is what this guy does, and this movie doesn't even dare to question, is telling these people that they have a problem with themselves, and only he can save them from their suffering and pain. That is, if they come back over and over again, and they will, because what this guy is doing is alleviating the pain with an illusion, with lights, music, and a performance that doesn't address any of the underlying circumstances.
And they will keep coming back. Because these seminars don't fix anything. They keep encouraging you to adjust to a system that hates you and that is inevitably going to make you feel empty inside. We could even say it alienates you. Who would have thought? This movie is not critical with any of this. It doesn't bother to put the act into any scrutiny or context. It just exposes the viewer to a part of the brainwash that these seminars do. It carefully doesn't show you what the subject of the documentary doesn't want you to see.
Oh, very well adjusted to the system.
This is not a documentary. This is a piece of propaganda for the status quo, the capitalist system, and the self-help industry. So if you don't have to watch it, you can save the time. So thank you all for watching. Thank you all for making it all this way into the video. And I'd like to thank, this video wouldn't be possible without the support of these magnificent people, these very generous people who helped me out. And I'm grateful for it. So I want to thank Neil Suryo, The Toughnot, Katrin Stenson, Stefan Bittner, also Serena Gallagher, James B. Vaines, The Kinky Beast, Niels Abildgaard, Michaela Smith, Matt Blender, Surplus Conbread, Puffin-Bird, Paul Morin, The Vegan Vanguard, Inga Leonora, Kali, and The Human Soybean, and Randy Randerson. If you can throw me some money, this is not a grifty endeavor. I'm an honest, down-to-earth, very simple person who makes videos for justice, change, and who is very broke. So in fact, I didn't need money to live and shit. I just would make this, in a stateless, moneyless society. But so far, it is what it is. So thank you all for making it to the end of the video, and see you on the next time. And hopefully I make something